Hi, everyone. Good evening. I hope you're well. So, today we're going to be looking at, by popular request, the Cambridge Advanced Speaking Exam. And particularly, we're going to look at some fixed expressions and phrasal verbs that you can use in any speaking exam. Um, but you can also use these in use of English as well. They appear quite regularly in use of English. So, without further ado, let's get started. Guys, if you have any questions as we're going, let me know. And I will answer any questions you have about the speaking exam or any of these expressions that we are using today. Okay, so let's get started. Let me make that a bit bigger. Okay, so fixed expressions and phrasal verbs. Okay, so first off, we're going to look at some expressions that you can use in this part of the speaking exam. So this is part 3. This is the mind map task, and you can use these for any topic. Okay, so our first expression is this one here. I'm torn between choosing a university and starting a family. I'm torn between blah, blah, blah and blah, blah, blah. Okay? So, what does this mean? Well, this means to be torn between means I can't decide between these two things. Okay? I can't decide between this and that. I'm torn between pizza or pasta for dinner tonight. What shall I have? I can't decide. Okay? Um, so you might see this in the speaking exam, or you could see it in use of English as well. So this is our first one. Number 2. Okay, so we can definitely rule out getting married. We can definitely rule out getting married. So getting married is one of the options on our question here. Okay. To rule out means that we are not going to choose that option. Okay, we can cross it off. We can get rid of it. Okay, so if the question is asking you, which of these do you think is the most important? You could say, okay, well, it's definitely not getting married. Okay, or okay, we can rule out getting married. Hmm? I can't decide between choosing university and starting a family, but it's definitely not. We can rule out getting married. Number 3, I'm leaning towards. I'm leaning towards finding a job as the most important one. I'm leaning towards. So this means, I'm going to make me bigger for a second. To lean is like to go to one side or to go to the other side. No, I'm leaning to one side, I'm leaning to the other side. So if you're leaning towards one option more than the other, it's like you're favoring that option more than the other. No, so I'm leaning towards an option. It's like I think that one is better than the other one. No, to lean towards. You might also see in another context to lean against. So if I'm against I'm over here, I'm leaning against the wall, like the wall is supporting me. No, to lean against something. Okay, but in a phrasal verb usage, lean towards is to favor one thing more than the other. Okay. Next one. Number 4. I think getting married goes hand in hand with starting a family. I think getting married goes hand in hand with starting a family. Okay? To go hand in hand with something, means that they go together. that they're connected. So they have a similar theme, no? So getting married, starting a family, these are along the same theme. They're connected. So they go hand in hand with each other. Okay, to go hand in hand with. Okay, write in the chat box if you have any questions about these expressions so far, or about this part of the exam, about speaking part 3. If you need any help, let me know. We will move on to our next expressions. Okay, we've got 5 more for you this evening. Okay, so these are expressions that we can use for the next part in the speaking exam, which is part 4, the final part of the exam. So this is when you have to talk for about 5 minutes about a range of questions which are connected to the mind map task. Okay, so this task was about making decisions. So the next questions are also going to be about making decisions. And these questions are typically a bit trickier, a bit more difficult, and you have to give longer answers. Okay. And these answers, you're going to be giving your opinion and agreeing and disagreeing with your partner. Okay. But what happens if with these questions you're having difficulty answering them? Okay. So I want to give you a few expressions to help you with that. Our first one is this one here. Sorry, my mind has gone blank. Okay? Sorry, my mind has gone blank. Or you can use it in past simple. My mind went blank. Okay? And this means, sorry, I forgot what I was saying. No? Sorry, my mind has gone blank. So you can use this rather than just getting stressed and stopping speaking if you forget a word. So rather than being just going silent, you can just say, sorry, my mind has gone blank. Can you repeat the question, please? Or, sorry, my mind has gone blank. Let's move on to the next topic. Okay. Or to your partner, sorry, my mind has gone blank. What's your thoughts on this? Okay. So this is a really good one to keep your fluency level going and continue the conversation. Okay, sorry, my mind has gone blank. Number 2, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Okay, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. This means that was just what I was thinking. That's right. That's the key information. No, so if someone answers one of these questions and then says, "What do you think?" and you thought, wow, their answer was perfect. That was exactly what I was thinking. No? That was the key points. I would say, Mark, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I couldn't have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. You've hit the nail on the head. Careful with this one. If you get this wrong a tiny bit, it sounds really weird. You say, I hit the nail on my head, in the head. It sounds like literally you're like putting a nail on someone's head. No, so it has to be said this way. You have hit the nail on the head. Okay. Number 3. So this is an expression that we can use to give yourself time to think if you're not sure how to answer the question. So if the examiner asks you a question, you're like, oh my God, I've never thought about that before. Okay. You can say, rather than like panicking in your head and saying that in your head, oh my God, I've never thought about this before, say it out loud. Okay. Because that's using your vocabulary. So I've never thought about this before, but off the top of my head, I would say that blah, 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 blah. Off the top of my head, I think that blah, 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 blah. Now, off the top of my head means like, this is my answer without doing any research or without thinking about it. Okay. Cheryl, what should we have for dinner? Like, I have no idea, but off the top of my head, I think we could have. I think there's some vegetables in the fridge. I think we could maybe make a spaghetti or something. So it's like you're giving an opinion or you're giving an answer without thinking about it. Okay, off the top of my head. So very, very useful in the exam. Notice pronunciation with a lot of these expressions, but the preposition in the middle, top of my head. Okay, when we say this quickly together in a sentence, the of is not stressed. So the of is going to become an sound, a schwa sound. It's going to be of. So instead of saying top of my head, I'm going to say top of my head. Top of my head. Top of. Top of. Off the top of my head. Okay? Off the top of my head. Off the top of my head. Okay? It's tricky, but this is how you will hear native speakers pronouncing these expressions, especially with prepositions. Okay, so it's not so important for you to be able to use it when you're speaking, but it's really important for your listening, no? That you can understand these weak vowel sounds. Okay, number 4. When you've forgotten a word and you're like, oh, what's the word? I know it. I know that expression. Oh, what is it? It's on the tip of my tongue. It is a little bit here. Yeah? So the word is almost coming out. You've almost got it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Okay. So again, you can use this when your mind has gone blank, when you've forgotten a word. You can be like, oh, sorry, I've forgotten the word. It's on the tip of my tongue. And then give a definition of it instead. No, sorry, I've forgotten the word. I'll kill myself later. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's it's that thing that you use to write with, like a pen. Ah, yes, of course, a pen. No, it's on the tip of my tongue. Okay. Number 5. So this is our last one here. This is a phrasal verb, to stand out. To stand out. So this is the thing that you think is most important. Thing you think is most important, or the thing that you notice the most. For example, if I was in a crowd of goths, who are all wearing black, and I was wearing a red T-shirt, I would stand out. You would be able to notice me very easily. Yeah. So if you were talking about various different points, maybe on our mind map, you could say the one that I'm attracted to, the one that I notice the most, the one that I think is most important. We can use this expression. The thing that stands out for me is blah, 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 blah. So this is a really useful one when we're using the mind map or in this part of the exam, okay? To stand out. You could also use, which is similar to this, is to be drawn to something. To be drawn to is like attracted to. Like a fly, a moth is drawn to the light. So you could be drawn to an idea or an argument. To be drawn to it. Because it stands out for you. Okay, so those are our 5 expressions here, plus our other ones. In a second, I'm going to give you a quick quiz and see if you remember them. But I just want to first answer some of your questions that you have been asking in the chat box. Okay, so Yekaterina, you have a question. You have your exam this week, if I remember correctly. Best of luck with that. Let me know how you get on with it. But let's have a look at your question here. So I was wondering whether in part 2, while describing pictures, we should use gender neutral pronouns, they, them, or is it better to stick to the traditional option, he, him, she, her? Okay, so this is a really good question. As you guys might be aware, gender neutral pronouns are becoming more and more common these days. So if someone does not regard themselves as either male or female, if they're non-binary, for example, they might call themselves they or them. Okay. However, we also have been using it for hundreds of years, they and them, when we're talking about someone that we don't know who it is. We don't know if the person is male or female. Okay. For example, somebody left their phone behind in class today. They should have been more careful with it. Someone left their phone behind. They should have been more careful. I'm saying they because I don't know if the person is male or female. So they, in this case, is replacing he or she. No? He or she. So in the exam, in the pictures, generally, it's fairly obvious if the person is male or female. So the standard that you're going to use is generally he, him, or she, or her. Okay. I would only be using they if I was talking in general about someone and I didn't want to say he or she all the time. Then I would use they. But in the exam for the pictures, use he or she. Okay. Don't worry about being gender neutral in the exam. Just stick to the basics, he or she. But really nice question. Yeah. Any other questions, guys, about the speaking exam? Oh, okay. Let's go to our quiz then and see if you can remember those expressions. Okay. So, our first question. How do we say, I forgot what I wanted to say? What's a better way to say that in the exam? Oh, I forgot what I wanted to say. What can we say? Ah, my mind has gone blank, or my mind went blank. Right? Number 2. I can't decide between these two things. Is it this one or this one? Which one is better? How do we say this? 3, 2, 1. I'm torn between. I'm torn between X and Y. I'm torn between pizza or pasta for dinner. Next one. That's exactly right. That's the key point. That's what I was thinking about. How do we say that? 3, 2, 1. You've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly right. You've hit the nail on the head. Next one. Number 4. You're like, I know the word, but I can't quite think of it right now. I know the word. It's on the tip of my tongue. Very good, guys. It's on the tip of my tongue. Number 5. These two things go together. These two things are connected. Getting married and starting a family. They go. Very good, guys. They go hand in hand with each other. Okay, they go hand in hand with each other. Or you can say marriage and what was it? Marriage and starting a family go hand in hand. So you can put the two things at the beginning. Okay. Or you can say marriage and starting a family go hand in hand, full stop, or hand in hand with each other. Both are fine. Awesome. Really good job, guys. I just saw another question pop up. So I'm just going to answer that one as well. And that question was from Zoea. Hello, Zoea. Would it be appropriate to say stands out from something? Yes. So the most common phrase that you can use with this is to stand out from the crowd. To stand out from the crowd. If you're different from other people, like with the example of me with the goths and a red T-shirt, I would stand out from the crowd. This is actually a true story. I went to when I was like 17 or 18. I went to a Marilyn Manson concert and decided it would be a good idea to wear a red Coca-Cola T-shirt. And literally, you could see me from from the stage. You could just see me in this sea of black. So yeah, I really stood out from the crowd there. Okay, guys. If there's no more questions, we will finish there for today. One more thing to put in the chat box before you finish. What do you want to do next week? Remember, I do these every Wednesday at 8 o'clock London time. So if there's something that you need help with, if there's something you want to see, put it in the chat box now. And I will go with the most popular option for our training for next week. Okay? So that is it. Yekaterina, good luck with your exam. Let me know how it goes. And guys, I will see you next week. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.